Hey guys, so you might have noticed that we have gone from talking about kinetic energy, the energy of motion, to talking about potential energy. You've already heard a little bit about potential energy through some of the reading, some of the videos that you've watched, because it's very hard to teach kinetic energy without talking about potential energy because they really do work hand in hand. Potential energy is just when we have this stored energy. The object's not in motion, it's not doing anything yet, but it has the potential to do something. Then it gets transferred into this kinetic energy, this energy of motion, or it can get transferred into other forms of energy. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to watch how we can give an object more potential energy, and then we're going to see how that can be converted into kinetic energy. So this is called rubber band energy. You're going to obtain a couple of rubber bands, a ruler, goggles, and a measuring tape, and then you're going to put on the goggles. Being careful to not aim at any person, stretch the rubber band about half its original length. Measure the stretch with the ruler if you have a ruler. Let go of the rubber band. Using the measuring tape to measure how far the rubber band traveled and record your results on the table. Repeat steps 2 and 3, but stretch the rubber band to its full length. Repeat steps 2 and 3, and then you can stretch the rubber band even farther if you can. You can try it with also different rubber bands. So, for example, let's say you don't have a rubber band. You can use a scrunchie. You could use a hair tie. You can use anything around your house that has this elasticity, meaning that it can stretch. So the first thing that you're going to do, it says stretch half its length. So you can kind of indicate, you can see how far it would stretch and then kind of go half that length. And what you're going to do without pointing it at anybody, you're just going to shoot it straight forward. Please make sure that you're safe. I would suggest wearing something on your eyes just to protect your face. Or just being extra careful that you're not hitting anybody with it. So stretch it half its length, and then it would be awesome if you can measure the distance that it traveled using a ruler or your phone or a measuring tape. If you don't have one, though, you can just kind of indicate how far it went. So you can do this obviously qualitatively, which would be using the words, or the quantitatively would be using measurements, the actual numbers. Then again, you're going to do it again, but you're going to stretch it the full length. So what we're doing here is that we would just be providing a little bit of potential energy. Notice it's not moving yet, but you know that it has the potential to move. Or we can give it more potential energy by stretching it out farther. And then you're going to see what happens. If I give it more potential energy, what happens to my kinetic energy? How far did it move? Did it increase in the distance that it was able to move, or did it decrease, or did it just stay the same? What you're going to do then after you practice, again, you can try it with different materials around your house. But the lab or the activity says rubber band, but if you don't have a rubber band, you can find other things. So after you do that, after you kind of explore, what connection do you notice between stretching the rubber band and the distance that it flew across the room? You're just going to kind of write up like a short little scientific conclusion. Remember, we've been working on scientific conclusions all school year. So think about what a scientific conclusion has. It has a claim, which answers the question. It has the evidence, which would be what happened when you shot it. And then the reasoning. Why do you think that when you stretched it back farther, that the distance did what it did? And so kind of write that up. Notice I didn't put a guide on there for you with the CER. That's because you're basically almost in high school, and I want to make sure, I want you to use all of those resources that we've talked about all school year to write a scientific conclusion without me having to guide you as much. Let me know if you have any questions.